Oh my God! I mean, this is the fight of the century.
Yeah, for so many different reasons too. As you watch it, while Frazier with that left hook catches
There
Ali,
was
Ali shaking up. Nah, he didn't hit me. Would let you
nope.
know. Yes, he did. Yes,
That's
he
right.
did. Yes,
That's
he
where
did.
Stallone got that for Rocky when he hit Apollo Creed and he went, nope, nope, nope.
It says a lot about Joe Frazier too, because as we knew it about what Ali was about and his style, and Frazier was only one of the few people that could take their punishment and keep moving forward, like we see right now.
Amazing.
Yeah, it just kept coming. See, Ali keeps saying, "Nope, nope, not touching me," which means yeah, he is.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Now, I took the liberty to watch a few of both of their fights before this, in
Uh-huh.
chronological order. And one thing I noticed about Ali is he didn't, especially during the float like a butterfly time, he didn't sit down and really fire unless he had to. He
Uh-huh.
dance and flick, his little short crosses, little short hooks like that. But in this fight, he's like, I better do some damage because he's coming at me. I got to get this guy off of me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's always going to be a thought, Frank. I mean, you got to remember, he's not even doesn't even have a fight for 3.5 years. He comes
Right.
back, fights the number one contender, Jerry Quarry, looks really good in that fight. Then he doesn't look so good against Oscar Bonavena. He
Right.
got wobbled in that fight, but he won by a knockout. So, I mean, you think he tried to do anything after 3.5 years? I mean, and then you're going to face this guy, Joe
Right.
Frazier. So I always thought that if he had fought Frazier without the layoff, he would have won. That's now I'm a Muhammad Ali guy. I'll admit that, and that's not taking anything away from Joe Frazier. But he's not as fleet of foot this version as he was in like '67
Oh no,
or
without a doubt, without a doubt.
right.
yeah,
So, but Frazier is just. I mean, he's in his prime here, and he is just so determined. And as Edward Armstrong Scott said, he fought a little bit like Henry Armstrong, which is true. But he was so motivated to win. So was Ali, but
yeah,
that left hook of his, that thing was dynamite.
yeah. When you have the part of it too is what this fight meant. You mentioned about Ali coming off the layoff, and then too with the whole point about being called a draft dodger, not but being part of the war, and Frazier on the other end was the pro-war people's champion, right?
He was.
And both guys were undefeated as well. So with Frazier knowing that, Frazier really wanted to prove to the people that, you know what, hey, I'm damn good too, and you come in here messing around, I'll have something for you, which made the prelude to all of this meant a lot, and then the fight, as we see now in the second round, continues to live up to everything we were waiting for.
Well, it's easy to say how different these two are, but I think what we tend to forget is how alike they are as well. Both undefeated champions or undefeated fighters, heavyweight fighters, both Olympic gold medalists, both came up the ranks, I mean, the similar eerie paths to get to this spot. And they promoted it differently because they had to have, good versus evil, right versus wrong, however you want to put it. But and you got the tall, lanky guy that's not as tall and lanky and as soft as you want, as you think. You got
Just
you've
whoa.
got the guy, the Philly Bull who does have some boxing skill. Is just
Oh,
he also doesn't mind taking it in the face. So this is just amazing.
yeah, there were some similarities, but then of course there were some differences too. I mean, Frazier, if you know anything about Joe Frazier, and I know you guys do, I mean, he grew up so poor, and Ali was more middle class in Louisville, Kentucky. But see, that doesn't take. And sometimes we have this theory that a guy who's poor, grows up poor, has more grit than a guy who's like middle class or whatever. But I remember one thing about this fight is that Ali, people didn't think he was that tough. He
Mm-hmm.
was a pretty boy. But after this fight, there were people who disliked him who said
Okay, well maybe yeah.
they grudgingly gave him his respect. And I remember that. So that changed his image a little bit because I mean, he had a lot of people that hated him, and there was always concern that he was going to get killed. And I mean, it was amazing time back then.
Well, if we were to do a retrospective of Ali's fights up to this point, we would say, a couple of tough ones here and there, but not really. I mean, as far as being that get down and dirty, gritty guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And plus, when you look at it too, even from the standpoint, you look at the physicality that Frazier's putting on him right now. That's who he is. But when you look at Ali physically right now, he wasn't the same guy that we knew before.
No.
When he left in '67 because he had to sit out. His body's different. He's older. He's just different. But that, in a nutshell, shows you how great of a fighter he was.
Right.
But I would love to see this fight before, back around '67, right? But it was another fight. But regardless of the fact, Frazier with his left hook, he's coming. Ali's tapping him, giving him the business, and the bull, as you called him, Frank, is still coming.
Still snorting.
Yeah, it's still coming.
Yeah, and he's just starting. He's just starting to smoke.
Yes, he's smoking now.
He's
Boom.
Yeah, that left hook. Ali had such a great chin. You know, we talk about it's a cliche to say it had iron in it, but it had everything in it. Iron, everything that you could think of that's hard. And if he didn't, that was a left hook that knocked Bob Foster out. You know,
It knocked a lot of people out, right?
Exactly.
And as we said, if you would have talked about Muhammad Ali in '65, it's like not only did you not know if he had a chin, you just assumed he didn't because he didn't get hit.
Right. Right. He got hit by Henry Cooper, and it was a left hook, and he went down. You remember that, and he was hurt. If you've ever seen tape of that, he was susceptible to left hooks, and that was the problem when he's fighting Joe Frazier.
Oh yeah. Plus two, you wanted to. One thing we never really talk about is we watched this round 3, is that the many times that Ali got his bell rung, and then also the issues he had with his jaw. Several times, like how many times I wonder did he really have his jaw broken? He always had an issue with that, but he kept fighting. He kept fighting.
Oh yeah. Just, I think when McClanty said stop talking, did you see that? He went like that. He said stop talking.
It's like good luck with that.
That's where Ali said, yeah, you're in here with God, and Frazier said, God's in the wrong place.
Yeah, Frazier was no nonsense, and we still don't give him his just due because to battle Ali like this says a lot, man. He's a hell of a fighter.
Well, again, it parallels what we said about Michael Spinks. We judge greatness sometimes on losses or lack thereof and not on what they did as a whole. So we judge Frazier on getting knocked out by Foreman and then the last loss to Ali. So we go, well, what did he do after that? Well, it doesn't matter what he did after that. When he got to the pinnacle, we say he lost. Well, obviously we know better than that for this fight. So, we give credit where credit is due.
Right. Well, I think part of it is people don't understand the body of work prior to that.
Right.
And it takes something to get to this point. And we've mentioned before that both of these guys are undefeated. Ali's coming off the layoff, and Frazier's like, I'm sure in his mind he's saying, this is my time, buddy.
Right. It's my title, not yours. Yeah, it's my title, not yours.
My title, and this is my time.
And he was right. I mean, he was more ready for this than Muhammad Ali at this point in their careers. Mm-hmm. And you can see it. He's sharper. He's smoking. Ali, as you said, Charles, is not the same guy as he was. But, the thing about him that was always the same was just how tough he was and how determined. He was one of the first fighters when I was a kid who saw when he'd get hit or whatever, if he looked hurt, he'd always come back. He'd always say, So it's just phenomenal. His nose is bleeding. I mean, he had never been – this fight, he really got pounded. And he had never been hurt or hit like this in his whole career, like you said, Frank. So it's just as this fight gets grueling as it goes on, like the third fight, it just gets harder and harder. And no one's going to stop. Oh, those left hooks.
Yeah, yeah. But I think it's a testament that showed Ali what he really had to do to get back to his form. You know, because you mentioned before the two fights with Corey and then the other guy, other gentleman.
Anavina.
That yeah. Now it's like against Frazier, it's like now this is for the heavyweight championship of the world. You're really being tested. This is top level, and I guarantee you, even after this fight, Ali probably said, "Okay, I really need to get back to the drawing board if I'm going to be on the top, be on top of my game again."
Throw left hooker. That's dangerous. You know?
And then, but here's the thing: the jabs, though, the Ali is. I mean, he's doing some wicked jabs.
Oh, yeah.
He's counterpunching big time, but he's still hitting Frazier as you said, Frank, in the face. And Frazier's like another left hook.
Yep. I've never seen a fighter quite like Frazier who doesn't really even care if you hit him. It's like you just hit him. He's like, okay, whatever. Hit me in the head. Hit me in the face. Hit me. I'm bobbing and weaving. But if you land one, oh well. It doesn't deter me one bit.
Kind of like Rocky Marciano was kind of like that too, Frank. He was smaller, obviously, on 185 to 190 pounds, but he get hit a lot, and it didn't deter him. So similar in that sense. Same body frame too. Frazier was a little bigger, like I said, a little heavier, but not heavier, but just a little bigger person. But raging, just coming forward.
Yeah.
He just won't stop, you know. And like I said, when I was a kid, I was an Ali. Or I didn't say this. I was an Ali kid, and what I got to say something. What you guys said about Frazier earlier is that you're right. He hasn't got his due, and I'm trying. I'm glad we're doing this too because yesterday was his birthday, and so I put an article on Max Boxing just to honor him because he was in his shadow, Muhammad Ali's shadow, and this is coming from an Ali kid, but. He was just, he in a sense, he never got the credit. And he got it here, but it was kind of short-lived, you know. And then he was so hurt and so badly beat up in this fight. God, he was in the hospital. Amazing durability.
Well, I guess I'm thinking of it as a professional athlete having an ego, which even us amateur athletes have. You're the undefeated heavyweight champion of the world, and they're talking about the other guy while you're the reigning heavyweight champion of the world. Like, well, yeah, but Ali didn't lose, so wouldn't you get into this situation and want to take it out on? Oh, there he is. Let's hit him a few times.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's part of it, and I think that's where you see the effort of Frazier. Frazier's like, I understand how good you are, and I appreciate that. But if you don't come in here with the real deal tonight, I'm going to hand this to you. And that's what we're seeing. And Ali is one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time. But in this fight, Frazier was more than ready. And he fought the fight of his life. When you really think about his career.
I ain't just giving you these belts. You got to take them.
Yeah. And I said, nobody talks about that. Nobody really said this might have been Frazier's greatest fight of his entire career.
Oh, it was. It was. And then, of course, you guys know the pre-fight. I mean, Frazier and Ali were friends, and Frazier even gave Ali money to help him when he wasn't fighting. And he was shocked when Ali started saying some terrible things about him. And he even though people were telling him, Joe, it's part of the buildup, and he didn't like it. You know, he didn't think it was right, and he thought, and I could understand that. You know, he was like, hey, wait a minute, you're going too far with this. Call me an Uncle Tom and all this kind of stuff.
I wouldn't do that to you. Why the hell are you doing that to me? Right.
Well, exactly. But when you look at it from that standpoint, somebody that helps you, somebody that's provided you with monies when you're struggling, and then you start to get back on top, and then of course you start running your mouth. It's like you doing too much. And plus, too, let's think about it. Ooh, left hook. Let's think about the whole point of all of the racial tensions and all of everything that's going on in the country. And you had two men of color going at each other. It's like, man, what the hell's wrong with you?
Well, they had to take different paths some kind of way, because you couldn't have two good guys in this fight. I mean, you could have, but they. How often does that sell?
True, but I guess my point with that is when we talk about all the attention, racial
Oh yeah,
tension that was going on in the country, you would think that that would have more of a stance than the actual whether or not you're the good guy, I'm the bad guy in boxing.
Yeah, and you
well,
got to remember that after the draft thing, Ali had so many people that hated him because they called him a draft dodger and everything, and
Mm-hmm.
he didn't even have to be the villain in a sense. People made him the villain.
right.
He was the bad guy, and then he was so confident. Obviously, say cocky, whatever you want to say, and he played it up to make people want to see him get his butt kicked. He said that all the time. Hey, come out and see me get my butt kicked because it'd be more money in my pocket. So he played the bad guy in a sense, but then of course he was loved by a lot of us as like the anti-hero. So yeah, you talk about storylines, we talk about that all the time. I mean, there were multiple storylines going on here. And with the backdrop of Vietnam and everything, I mean, this was like a war of two, not just personalities, but two ideas, two opinions of
Mm-hmm.
what the United States is, and they fought as hard. See, Ali's really doing what you're talking about now, Charles. He's been doing it all fight, but he's even doing it more in this round. He's sticking out that jab and trying to keep Frazier away, and then grabbing him behind the neck, get him to stop smoking.
Right.
Good luck on that. There's a right hand.
Yep.
And smoking's like, that's all you got? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
he's like,
so that's it. You haven't done nothing yet. But see,
Woo!
it's the we went into this with the idea, at least the way I saw it was the dancer versus the brawler.
Yeah.
And as you both alluded to, if this fight had happened 4 years earlier when he was still the dancing master, I wonder what would have happened.
Yeah.
Because I know, Frazier looks like he was faster than Liston, but Liston had no chance of catching up to Ali when he was that fast.
Even when he was blind, he couldn't really.
Yeah, he couldn't get to him.
Yeah, that's why when the rematch, Ali, he danced more. He was a little older, but he got in such great shape for the rematch because he knew, like you said, Charles, he had to do different things in the rematch, and he did. Right. He moved around, didn't lay on the ropes very much. Laying on the ropes against this man, I mean, I know he does it against Foreman too, but he just gets pounded. And this Frazier was just a dynamic body puncher, and he does that later in the fight. That slows him down even more. But yeah, the Matador and the Bull, what this is in a sense.
It just keeps coming.
Don't lay on those ropes.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, this is probably and then too after this fight, a lot of people were thinking about what was going to happen to Ali. Was he still going to be the same guy? And the amount of punishment we see him taking right now, even though he's winging combinations and he's throwing that jab out there, and it's almost as if this guy Frazier, he's like, he's like, get out of here,
let's go, boy, let's go,
get out of here, get out. This was Joe Frazier's when I said it's probably the greatest fight. It's like, come on, buddy.
I got you, big boy.
Yeah, come on, buddy. Running your mouth. Take that left hook.
Now let's take a quick look at it technically. What's happening at this point? I didn't even attempt to try and have a score the fight or anything like that. There's no way. But here's just what you're seeing here. Throw the jab. If you're Ali, throw the jab. Then grab him behind the neck and pull him down. Hit and smother, and Frazier's not having any of it. But one thing I noticed a couple of times, Ali's doing it in such a way that we've got the great Arthur Mercanti in there. He's not, either he's trying to be hands off, or he's just not seeing it because he's doing it when the referee is turned the other direction. I don't know. All right, round 6. We're a little over a third of the way through.
I remember the scoring always had me, when I watched it, I thought, 11-4, I remember, and I went, what? Okay, Frazier's winning. I would definitely have him winning, but I remember thinking it was maybe 3-2 Frazier at this point. Perhaps I didn't watch it all that close to score it, but it was close at this point. Ali started fast. We saw him. Frazier's he's just coming on now. He's ruthless in there. He's winging those left hooks, and Ali is thinking,
body shots. Oh my goodness.
Look at that. He's like, jeez.
Yeah. Plus, too, when you look at that, what we're seeing now, too, is the factor that Ali was doing more holding.
Right.
He was
yeah.
trying to keep him at bay, and the left hook is still coming, holding on. And I know they had to play a part with the judges.
Well, he couldn't figure out a way to keep him off of him. And what we'll see next week when we do Frazier Foreman, Foreman figured out a way to keep Frazier off of him. So a little prelude to that one.
Yeah.
A little tease. I got to tease a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. These Capricorns.
Oh my goodness.
Foreman, Frazier. Foreman, Frazier, and Ali. January 10th, 12th, and 17th.
And me.
Wow. Man, this is crazy. We're watching this again, it's like when I was a kid, I mean, I was all Ali like you, John. But to sit here again and watch this fight is to watch the masterful shots that Frazier is putting on Ali. Is like, damn, he did get his butt whooped.
You know what? And I don't know about you, Charles, but I was really angry at Joe Frazier because he beat my idol, But then when he was in the hospital, I got all worried because the respect I had for him just grew after this, and because I thought he's not a bad guy, he just beat your guy. So what? It's not personal, and I just always pulled for him, other than when he fought Ali. That was the only time when he fought Foreman and he fought him again. I always wanted him when he fought Jimmy Ellis. Because he was amazing. He was a great fighter, no doubt about it. Look at that.
You're right. Go
ahead, Charles. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that, as you mentioned, as a kid, I remember like being in school and we talked about this fight, and I loved Ali, and everybody knew I liked Ali. So when this went down, and then you saw the results in Life magazine, I was like crying, man, because it was like, not my guy. This is Superman. Superman doesn't lose, man. Superman doesn't lose. Not even with kryptonite. Somebody come and get him. Like Ultraman. Somebody come down from the heavens. You don't lose, bro. But I tell you what, Joe Frazier, man. This when we're watching this fight right now, I'm gonna give it to him.
Over.
You are literally watching him get inside of one of the greatest boxers / fighters of all time, and it's like, hey, buddy, nothing you can do about this tonight. I'm here. It's my show tonight, and if anybody had an issue with Joe Frazier or didn't want to give him his just due, you need to watch this damn fight because he is putting it on the greatest right now.
Well,
yeah, and no matter what Ali did, he couldn't slow him down.
He couldn't keep him off of it.
He was playing around there with those little pity patters, but he couldn't. Ali must have thought, God dang, this guy, I barely get out of my corner. He's in my chest. So he come running out, and it was just, Joe Frazier, just like I said, just a great fighter.
Well, this is one of those things where, we've got them all around sports. You've got, Celtics, Lakers, Auburn, Alabama, Texas, Oklahoma, Ohio State, Michigan. You have all these great rivalries. And in this rivalry, most of you admit to hating the other team, the other entity. Because you usually, not everybody, but you don't respect them enough to understand that they're two sides of the same coin. And as you mentioned, you go into this fight wanting one or the other in the time frame. I think you come out of it, like we've said, with respect for both of them so much that it's like, okay, my guy lost, but look who he lost to. Not a big deal, My guy can still be great because he lost to one of the greatest of all time. Mm-hmm. So I think that's where we come up with this. And since I grew up, as this was happening, I understood that. I'm an Ohio State guy. I don't hate Michigan. Ohio State fans, don't shut us off now. But I don't necessarily like them. I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, and I don't hate the Steelers. I'm not fond of them, but I don't hate them.
You should hate the Steelers.
I hate the Packers.
Yeah, well, see. I forgot Bears, Packers. Yeah, there's another one. But in this instance, they're even though they're different guys and different styles and different personalities and all that, you get done with the fight and you go, well done, well done.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure, Frank. You're right. I didn't think that after. I was just so devastated.
Right.
We were listening to it on the radio, and they were doing round by round. So you'd wait like 10 minutes, and they'd say, "Okay, we're in round 6. This happened. This happened. This happened." My dad and I were sitting there listening, and I remember the announcer saying that Frazier had taken over. Ali looked tired, and Frazier was just beating him up, was giving him a country whooping. And as you see, he is. I mean, Ali's right there. He's winning some rounds, but Frazier's he's relentless. And there isn't anybody else that could have beat, even though Muhammad Ali might not have been, look at that, might not have been the same guy. There isn't any other heavyweight that could have beat him that night. Frazier's the only one who could have beat him.
Right. He had the blueprint that night, and you could just tell by watching Ali's face was being swollen and him trying to bob him. He's pulling out every trick in the book to try to keep this guy off of him.
And he's crazy too, standing there in front of that guy like that with his hands down.
Well, and Charles, you mentioned he's changing tactics. He's trying this. He's trying that. He's coming up with, and Frazier hasn't changed one iota since the first second of the first round. He's done the same thing every time. He hasn't done anything different. Head down, going through him. Every second of the fight. He doesn't back off. He doesn't breathe. He doesn't think, I'm going to do this. Bob and weave, come up, throw the left hook. Bob and weave, go to the body. Bob and weave, come up with a left hook. He hasn't changed one thing. And why should he? It's working.
Right. Maybe every once in a while throw that uppercut, which he's touching with it.
You saw Ali hit him with a really good left hook right there.
Right.
And he
just walked through it.
Yeah. Flies.
Ali still trying to celebrate with the people. He knows deep down inside, oh, man, this dude is. He's like, come on,
let's go.
Right there.
Quit talking mess. Get out the way. I want to hit him.
Yeah, Joe Frazier, like, you've been talking the whole time. Shut up and come over here. Oh my goodness.
I got something for you.
Yeah, and again, like I said, I mean, the grit, the toughness of these guys. You got a guy like Joe Frazier, and you got, like you said, get your hands down. And then Muhammad Ali he's hitting them with some wicked shots, and Frazier's like, just meet me in the middle of the ring. Tired of this. It's just they're just amazing athletes.
Okay, I'm going to have to go back and do the math on how many of these we've done so far. I think we're around 8 or 10. Does that sound about right?
That sounds about right.
Okay. And in each one, except for the Hearns-Hagler fight, we've had a little break in the action somewhere, one way or another. If even for only 4 or 5 seconds or 10 seconds, there's been no action for a little bit. This fight, they have not stopped. I know we're still talking. They haven't stopped. Now, Ali's stopping right now. He's Frazier has not stopped.
No, Angelo Dundee's going, get off the ropes, get off the ropes. And he's talking to him, too.
He's like, let me give you a little bit. Blah, 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 blah.
He's like, what are you doing? Stop that.
Yeah, this Frazier is just like, I'm going to keep pushing you. You just wonder what Frazier, was he on some type of, I'm not going to put out there. Because we know we're talking about Aaron Pryor and stuff, but still it's like, dude, he was just so hyped up.
1970s Red Bull is what it was.
He was the timing of this fight was perfect for him.
Yeah,
it wasn't for Muhammad Ali.
Absolutely
right. Joe Frazier. He was, like I said, he's in his 27 years old.
Come here. Stop that. Come here.
He pulls him like, come here.
Quit that bull crap.
Yeah. Beat you up some more.
He's like, come here, quit holding and come here. Oh my God. Joe Frazier, man. This I'm telling you, I'm watching this, I'm marveling at his relentless attack and the way he's doing.
Looking for the uppercut. Didn't get to throw it though.
Yeah, his effort is just amazing.
See, and Ali is tired and he can't get himself off the ropes. He wants to
Right.
Pound wants to make Frazier, he respects him, but he wants to do something. But standing there flat-footed with Joe Frazier, unless you can hurt him.
And he can't right now. He can't.
Yeah. You just taking shots and you're holding him, tying him up, and still taking them. That left hook, man. Oh, man, left hook.
Yeah, his right side of his face is swelling.
Yeah.
Those left hooks.
Okay, I'm going to pat ourselves on the back. Okay, whoever thought this up to say, let's watch the full fight of the ones we're doing, and then just sit here and run our mouths as we watch them. Whoever thought of that, and if you're watching this for the first time, give us the ideas for another fight to watch, because this is insane. And, I was, 7 years old when this fight came on? So I remember it being fought, but I can't recall ever watching the entire fight. Not this way. I may have seen the highlights. I may have seen, this and that. I can't recall watching the entire fight. This is insane.
Yeah.
Again, and I'm sorry. I'll just real fast, Charles. This is why when people talk about nowadays heavyweights versus these guys, okay, they're smaller than the big monsters of nowadays. But as far as skill goes, no. These guys were they had much more. Jerry Quarry, who we feel is unappreciated, he just was fighting at a time where these guys were around. Foreman shows up a few years later. So this was just a prime time with the heavyweights. And these two guys, I mean, like I said, you don't have one legend, you got two. And then you got Foreman, who's right there too. So Ken Norton, I mean, they're just some amazing fighters in this period.
Yeah, I was just going to say that watching this fight, we're in round 9 right now, and Frazier's full of energy. Ali's still trying to keep him off and trying to be refreshed as well. But you can see right now, up until this point, and as we move forward as well, why this is the fight of the century. Seriously, you can really see nonstop action, great shots that, as you guys had mentioned earlier, would have really taken out a lot of other guys, a lot of other talent. But these men are still here, still battling, still going at one another.
And no offense to anything that I'm about to say or anyone I'm about to say this about. You mentioned Lyle, Norton, Shavers, Ellis. All these guys are fighting right now. If you were to line them up 1 through whatever compared to the 80s or 90s or the 2000s or whatever, you're talking, say, and no offense to David Tua, but David Tua would have been like Ron Lyle in this respect. You're saying, well, if you're looking ranking to ranking, Ron Lyle would have kicked their butts. And again, no offense to what's going on now, but the depth of the heavyweights during this era is insane. So to be the undefeated heavyweight champion of the world or the former undefeated heavyweight champion of the world really means something. It's not like you had to just walk through nobody. And then as we go past this,
body shot
to retain the title meant something. So,
yikes! You felt those.
Yep. You ain't talking now, big boy.
Yeah, if I'm remembering correctly, he starts coming back again, even though he looked wobbly right there, his head. He starts firing back because, all that champion pride. Yep, there's his right hand. Here he comes. Hey, look at that. I think he hurts Frazier here a little bit. Yeah, look at this. Look at this.
Yeah, Frazier actually took a step backwards.
Yeah, that's why I think he hurt him a little bit there because he actually stepped back, but then he's right back on going at him.
Now, I didn't say 2 steps backwards. I said a step backwards.
Well, it's a big deal.
It hadn't happened yet, so.
I mean, look at that rally by Ali at the end of the round.
Just the energy after those rounds. We're in round 9 going into round 10, and it's like they just came out in round 1. You ain't nothing. You ain't
breathe,
nothing.
Boy, breathe.
Come on, sucker.
Look at these combinations right here.
Double left. Wow.
And there, Frazier went back. See, that's the first time that happened. Yeah. Ali had power in that left hand.
And I'll try not to get technical about it because I don't know. but I know that Ali has punching power, but he doesn't have throw from the floor kind of rip through you kind of punching power. He doesn't do that. Not to say he doesn't hit you, but he doesn't have or doesn't appear to have that kind of earth shattering, you're done kind of power. Having said that, he still had 23 knockouts going on this fight or whatever. So, but that if he threw that way, it may be done with some of those punches.
Yeah, he had slashing power.
That's the best way to put it. Right. Yeah. That's the best way to put it. Right.
He surprised him like Bonavina and Ron Lyle. He hit him with that left hook, and Ron Lyle was gone after that one punch. So it was that left hook, that short, jolting left hook that was probably his best power punch.
Well,
Frazier didn't have much of a right hand either, but
left
got better.
When he got that one, he would ease it. Well, as I was piecing this together, I did look at the Phantom Punch against Liston. It's not a Phantom Punch.
He hits him.
Yeah, he hits him. He had it lined up well. It just whether that was the end all be all, I don't know. But he had it lined up well to where, and he hit him in the right spot and timed it just right. So yeah, he had that kind of power. It's just it was so quick, right over the top. But we may get into that one a little bit later as well. We almost have to.
That was the anchor punch, Frank. And he got that from Jack Johnson. That's what he said.
I know he wishes he had that one right now.
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
He needs the whole boat. Anchor ain't enough. He needs the whole boat.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, but just watching Frazier's energy after that last round, man. He jumped off the stool like, let me get him. Let me get at him. Let me get at him.
Yeah, and then think about Ali. He hit him with his best punches in the last round, and here's Frazier right back to doing what he – and Ali's tired. He's obviously more tired than Frazier, but, again, he's got that – he always had that other level that he could go to if he needed to, like he does in the third fight that we're going to watch. Little teaser again, Frank. Third fight is like this one, too, but it's even more grueling because it's 100 degrees in the rain. But just tremendous. This is what boxing is about: pride, determination. Frazier's face is all lumpy. Ali's tired, his jaw's swelling up, and they're still just going at it like, you're not beating me.
Well, the insanity of this is if you're both of them, especially if you're Frazier, it's like, why isn't he down yet?
Yeah, he said that. I've been
just bullying this guy, and if this is anybody else, this fight was over 4 rounds ago.
Yeah.
Why? I'm doing everything right, and I'm probably in the best condition, fighting the best fight of my life, and this guy's still standing here and still talking to me.
Yeah, I'm sure his corners told him back then, hey, don't worry about it. Just keep doing what you're doing. We'll worry about it at the end. It would be nice to get a knockout, but let's just keep battling. And you can see Ali when he puts his hands on the ropes, he let you know he's tired. He may never.
How do I get this clown off of me? Like I said, I've tried every trick in the book. I can't get him off of me. That right to Frazier's ear, that should have scrambled his brains.
Should have, but
nothing.
Not that night. Not that night.
Wow.
This is This is what this fight was, and we watch. We have boxing now. We talk about it. The big fights are coming up, and rarely do they live up to the expectations. And this one not only lived up to it; it exceeded it.
Right.
Incredible.
Got a lot of hype. You talk about the point of Frank Sinatra taking pictures for Life magazine.
Yeah. Right.
Burt Lancaster doing color.
Yeah.
Dude, really? Dude.
Yeah, that shocked me. I'm like, that sounds like Burt Lancaster.
It is.
What in the world?
Everybody wanted to see this fight.
Yep.
Man.
Yeah, and Burt was in it.
Slip.
Yeah, he slipped.
He slipped, but that was a delayed reaction after that left hook.
That didn't hurt me.
Yeah, Burt Lancaster was in a tough spot because Burt liked Ali, and you can even tell that he was kind of pulling from when Ali's getting, he's like, end of the round, Yeah, this is rough. This is round 11, right? I remember this round. Yikesy, get ready.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
No doubt.
Stop holding, stop holding, stop holding.
Had to. It's the only way to get Frazier to stop hitting him, but
Boom. Body shot. Ali still pushing.
uh-oh.
Looking over at the corner like, somebody help me. But right hand.
Right hand there.
Yep.
And then see, this is I'm loath to say anything because anyway, I'll just shut up for a second.
Oh yeah. Well, it's part of it to see how it works out.
Coming. That's why you shut up, huh, Frank?
Yep.
But yep.
That wasn't it, though.
No.
He's just beating him up. He's hurting him, though.
Yep.
But that doesn't show it until this one coming here.
Body.
He's talking still.
He'll run
Yeah,
his move.
big mistake.
Body.
Oh.
Right hand.
Frazier's like, go ahead and lay on the ropes. I'll just kick the crap out of you, buddy. Grabbing the rope. Ali was
Crafty is the word we're looking for.
or something. Oh, look at that rally.
Still coming back. That would have knocked most guys out already. Seriously.
Yeah.
They've been out in their feet.
Come on.
Come on back. Come on back. Oh, there it was.
That's good. Yeah.
There it was. Body shot.
Oh, no.
That's how I'm going to be when we go to the bar, guys. Like, he's staggered. Help him.
Oh. Wow.
Still talking. Doesn't even know what he's saying.
You didn't hurt me. I ain't hurt.
How did he take that left hook? He missed. He avoided that one.
Oh, wow. He's throwing back. Oh, my goodness. Where you at, Joe? I ain't hurt.
That's right. It was like, yeah, right. I think he's playing there. Yeah.
He's playing because he's actually messed up. Now, what I was about to say was, again, we have a legendary referee in the ring, and we really haven't talked a lot about it. Now, there's been a lot of hitting and holding. There's been a lot of grabbing and a lot of stuff. And if we project this 30, 40 years later, as he gets wobbled, because he did get wobbled, that may have been a stoppage, not a stoppage in the fight, but it may have been a standing 8 count or something like that. Now, maybe not then.
2 champions, 2 undefeated champions.
Right.
It really depends on the referee, you know.
When he fell back into the ropes like that, though, it might have been, okay, what's going on, champ? You all right? And all the...
There it is.
Right. And all the holding and grabbing and all that stuff that he's letting him get away with, again, we say that from the perspective of now, but back then I guess it wasn't such a big deal, Or is it because it's Ali, we'll let him get away with it? But all this grabbing behind the head and stuff,
Yeah. I think you said it. Remember how there was Jordan rules? Remember you guys? I think it was Ali, and so they didn't really say anything. Yancey Durham would say stuff about, he's always holding Joe, he's always grabbing behind the neck. But he did that a lot. That was the only way to get him to stop smoking. He never got penalized. Never got penalized once.
Ooh, wow.
Frazier's like, I'm trying to end it.
The only reason he slowed down is because he threw himself on the opposite side of Ali. He missed the left hook and went 5 feet away. He had to slow down and recover.
You just have to ask yourself, how did Ali take these punches and not go down? And like I said, he just had a lot more. Again, the pretty boy, all this stuff. He had a massive heart, as did Frazier. And whatever it was, he just was not going to quit. He was going to keep trying, even though you're hit. Oh, I mean that went to the below the face. What I'm sure hurt, and the chest even hurt. Those left hooks. You
got to think, if we're asking that, what in the hell's going through Frazier's head?
Oh, yeah.
He's thinking, I'm not stopping. I know that much. Because last thing I want is a decision that's going to go the other way. For sure.
Yeah, Frazier was just, he was relentless. Like I said, we've said it a million times. See, then Ali would rally like this. That was what I always admired about him. Even made Frazier go back a step again. See, so that's the thing about him. He would never.
Now Joe's laughing. Yeah.
Yeah. See, so there was never any quit in him. It was amazing.
Joe's rope-a-dope.
But this is the most aggressive we've seen Ali for like 6 rounds.
Well, since that rally with those 2 big left hooks, that was
Yeah.
this was a big. He was just getting pounded the last 2 rounds.
He's just been trying to deflect and dodge. Now he's like, I better start, stand still and throw something.
Yeah, see, he lost the first part of the round, but he's winning the round now after that rally. So that was just digging down deep.
Oh.
Wow.
He hurts Frazier in the second fight with that kind of punch, a right hand, and Frazier, he almost knocks him down in the second fight with a right hand. Tony Perez called the round early, but finally hurt him with the right hand.
I'm going to throw something out here. I know you're wearing gloves and wraps and all that stuff, but this is no ordinary 15-round fight. How in the heck do your hands take this punishment? Beating that guy upside the face like that for 15 rounds. I mean, that's something that's like, my hands would have to be killing me after that. Just punching and hitting solid bone for 15 rounds. Because we know punchers that are boxers that have, quote unquote brittle hands. But come on now. It's hitting solid stuff often.
Yeah, Ali had brittle hands. I never heard Frazier say anything about his hands, but I think these are 10-ounce gloves. So, or they might even be 8. I'm not sure. But, yeah, that's a good point, Frank. I mean, Floyd Mayweather had brittle hands.
Right. There's always more to it than meets the eye. And there's, there's always something else.
How did he go down there?
And that was the punch where I said, the only reason Frazier wasn't on top of him because he threw himself out of the way.
Look at Ali trying to come back.
Yeah, come back with that burst of energy.
Oh.
I ain't hurt. Come on, Joe.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. You get this.
Yeah, and at least, like I said, his jaw is, it's going to be a balloon by the end of the fight. And, just no quit, Charles, that's the thing again, that I know a lot of people, and Frank, people call boxing barbaric, and in a sense it is, but we love the fact that these guys, oh hell yeah, they're big athletes, they make all kinds of money, but if you don't think they really care, you're crazy. They want to win.
Yeah, plus too, you have a different respect for these guys, because what it takes to get in that round, to get in that ring, and then pound for 15 rounds, not 10, not 12. We grew up in a different time where there were 15-round bouts. Now it's 12, and not to take away from any of the 12-round bouts or 10-round bouts or even 5-round bouts, but 15 rounds. I mean, a lot of people probably consider that barbaric now, but it says a lot about these titans that bang each other the way that they did and survived.
Well, yeah, and in those days, if fights hadn't gone 15 rounds, before that, Marciano never, if it had been 12 rounds against Jersey Joe Walcott, he would have lost the decision.
Right.
Knocked him out in the 13th round. And then Leonard caught Hearns, he would have lost the decision if it had been a 12-rounder in the first fight. So, that was, they used to call those the championship rounds. Remember, 10 through 15, because things would happen. Joe Louis would have lost to Billy Conn if it wasn't a 15-rounder. So, in a way, I understand, obviously, about the safety, and I never want to see a guy get hurt. but there was a lot of things that would happen in boxing, dramatic, where it could turn or something in the last few rounds, just because it is the last few rounds. Both guys are tired.
Tate Weaver.
True. So true. Goes a long way with that being said. So I think that's you almost had to tip your hat off to anybody that fought 15 rounds.
Oh, for sure.
To go that deep, and then let's say you come up short.
Well, do you look at Tate versus Weaver?
Yeah, you come up short.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is just insane. I don't think there's a better way of putting it.
Right. Say John Tate versus John Weaver.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, John Tate versus
Weaver. Yeah, Mike Weaver. Yeah.
Mike Weaver. Yeah. And then there's one of those things too that when you get to 15 round fight that really was full of action like this one was, and you really don't want to have somebody lose because that's a lot of rounds in the ring. A lot of rounds, and you know the guy that lost had to be done.
But what's worse, a 15 round fight where someone loses a decision, or a 50 round fight that they go, hey, it's a draw. Let's do this again. All right, round 14. We're rolling. Still pushing the action. And again, Frazier hasn't taken a step back.
All right. Oh,
We're back?
Oh,
okay, there we go.
Oh.
Just a slight technical glitch, ladies and gentlemen, but hey, it's 1971. What do you expect out of us?
Right.
This is new technology for us. We had to take the time machine back and everything.
You know, I can't help but think that it's a totally different time and fight. But when Joe Louis fought Max Schmeling, the first fight, he got hit with, oh my God, like over 100 right hands.
Yeah.
And finally got stopped. And just how many left hooks did Ali get hit with in this fight? I mean, he just got,
somebody at BoxStat or somebody has probably checked that out, but it's a ton. Now, we can go back and count it if we wanted to, but it ain't 12. Let's put it that. It's quite a few.
That left hook is just nasty, bro. That left hook from Frazier on Ali's jaw is just wicked.
And I don't know. I mean, obviously it's a great punch, and it's not like it's the only person he ever connected on. But it's almost as if he either doesn't see it or he just can't get out of the way of it like he does everything else. He can't just lean back and get out of the way of it. He keeps getting tagged with it. Charles, it reminds me of when we were watching the Pacquiao Marquez fight, and or and then just he kept getting Marquez got hit by that straight left down the pipe. That he's like he had to figure out how to get out of the way, but which he eventually did. But it doesn't look like Ali is going to figure out ever how to get out of the way of that left hook.
And it can happen that way because you're selling yourself. You know something's coming, but to react to it is just like playing football. You play defensive back, and a guy's so talented. No matter what you do to cover him or whatever, he still runs the route and burns you. And this is when we're going to round 15 right now. Frazier, the whole fight, has found a way to land that left hook to Ali's jaw, right jaw. And this is one of the greatest boxers and fighters of all time. But some people have your number. And that night, I think he had his number. And he was able to move forward with landing his shot. Because you think about the bobbing and the weaving. And oh my God. That's it.
How did he get up? Look, he's okay.
He got up at 2.
Yeah, he's okay.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Another left. That left hook is really, really nasty there, Frank.
What I was about to say, and I knew it was coming at some point, but I was about to say, watch it, and again, maybe we have to do a replay of the replay. I don't know, but if you're watching the fight from a distance, you still don't see the left hook coming. So imagine if you're there on top of it. Like, there it is. It's like, okay, but you don't see the left hook coming until it's almost being delivered. And that's us watching it, looking for it.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, real quick, I was watching for it, and I still didn't see it.
I didn't see it, right.
Yeah, and, Ali does much better in the second fight, even though he still gets hit with those left hooks, but not as much. But look at Frazier's face. I mean, he looks like a monster movie. His face is so swollen. He doesn't even look like himself anymore. And they're just amazing, amazing, amazing determination. Oh, yikesy.
Yeah.
You know what? Nowadays, that was a good point, Frank. Nowadays, his corner might have stopped it because he got hit with so many left hooks and he went back like, you could tell he felt it. His corner might have thrown in the towel, even though Ali would have hated that.
Well, see, again, that's if it's not this fight, and I agree with you. But if it's not this fight, if this is Joe Blow against Steve somebody, yeah, that may have happened. But I don't think, and this is why I think Arthur Mercanti is like, nah, man, I'm just gonna let it roll because I can't be the person that gets in the middle of this fight. And like you said, look at Frazier. He looks like he's just been in a war, which he has.
He hasn't, and you said,
he's winning the war. That's the part that's amazing.
And real fast, Ali always leaned back when he was younger. See, and that was then. He couldn't do it as much, and he couldn't do it with Joe Frazier. He couldn't lean back, which was a cardinal sin in boxing. Frazier just tagged him over and over and over and over and over, and he was a little slower. He lost a little bit.
Because I guess I want to ask the question:
wow,
is Frazier faster doing what he's doing than Sonny Liston doing what Sonny Liston was doing? Because basically, it's the same thing, and Sonny Liston wasn't coming close.
And it was a different Ali, That's
true. That's it as well. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously too. So.
All right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, we have re-witnessed history, and I'm glad we did. Fight of the century. And there's still 40 years left to go in the century. Wow. Wow. Now, normally at this point, I would have stopped the thing, and I want to see the whole reaction. I just want to see the whole thing because with knowing the history, I think we could say what the outcome would be, but I don't know if you would think that right now. Right now, are you thinking, is it close? Did Ali steal enough rounds? How does it play out? What would you think?
Yeah, I'm here. I would say, no, I thought Frazier won that fight easily. I mean, just by the way he was connecting with that left hook and continue to move forward, he easily won the fight. And what let you know, too, that he had really gotten to Ali is when At the end of the fight, you got to pay very close attention. They walk away from one another, and Ali literally like taps Frazier on the back,
Right.
telling him like, "Yeah,
You got me. Yeah.
you got me. Good job, good job." And that's not his. That's not characteristic of him. I'm going back to my corner. He probably raising his arms up in the air,
Right.
like, "I told you." No, he just literally tapped him in the back, like, "Damn,
Yep.
you got me. You got me."
But again, the way these things play out, if and that thing of you have to beat the champ in order to be the champ. Well, if they're both of them are supposedly the champ, what happens? What kind of call do you make?
I think that's part of it, though. You just had to say that the best man, the better performance
Yep.
won.
Yep.
Clearly,
And it's winner by
yeah,
unanimous
decision.
decision. Yep.
And rightfully so. He earned it. For all the people that loved Ali and all the people that supported him that night, he got soundly defeated.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's another story for another time. But anyway, okay. So we have effectively rewatched history. Not a bad thing, huh?
No.
Was it okay? So Charles, and I were kind of talking about unanimous decision for Frazier. There is that thought in your head, possibly, at least in mine, that when we get to a decision, you never know how it's going to turn out. Especially if you have, Mr. Popularity over here, or maybe he wasn't. I don't know. You have to remember the time. But we still now have. Gee, there's good English. We still have a undisputed heavyweight undefeated champion in Joe Frazier.
Mm-hmm.
Great fight, great everything. Now what happens? Obviously, we're going to tear it apart and whatever. See, I don't even know if there's analysis to make after this fight.
See, I think when you say that, though, the part of the analysis is no one. I don't think anybody really knew what was going to happen, because you
Right.
have South Ali coming off the layoff, and you still thinking it's still Ali, right? And then you go, well, we know Frazier's good, but Frazier has never faced anybody like Ali, right? So there's a lot of different variables inside of there to look at. And I think what Frazier showed you is that was my night.
Yeah.
That was my night. And Ali still was Ali, but he wasn't the Ali that we've known, and we can understand that why. But no excuses were made. Frazier fought a hell of a fight, perhaps, as I said before, maybe the greatest fight of his career, considered perhaps against the greatest fighter of all time. And that notch on his belt rings volumes. It really does ring volumes, and I think more people need to watch this fight. They need to give Joe Frazier his due, and kudos to him. But I think, as you said, it shows a lot too, because during the times it just was crazy, and Frazier should have got more of his just due. But what's ironic to me as we continue on this thing is he's the undefeated champion, and probably thought he was going to go right back and fight Ali again and get a rematch or whatever was happening. But just all of a sudden, things dramatically just changed, because 22 months later, he loses to Foreman, and that loss. Just saying that loss changed the structure of boxing when you think about it.
Well, first of all, since we're going to be doing that fight next week, we don't know if he lost to Foreman.
Ah, that's right. No spoilers. Spoiler alert.
But the point being, here's where I'm at if I'm thinking this at that time. Frazier just beat the man convincingly enough to be a unanimous decision.
Sure.
So he's got to be the best guy out there. So as we're getting to that next fight that we're going to talk about next week, I don't care who George Foreman is. If I'm a Frazier fanatic or Joe Frazier, I just beat the best that there is. I don't care who George Foreman is, because I am my guy, Joe Frazier, is now heavyweight champion of the world. Right. And he beat the best. He didn't beat somebody over here. He beat the best. So that's it. That's all. That's all she wrote. And as you said, 22 months later, we're going to look at something different. But
I go with that. I mean, I guess my point is to clarify and clear it up. If when Frazier won this fight, then of course defeating Ali the way that he did, then it's like he's considered the man. He's considered the guy.
Right. Yeah.
He's considered the guy. And then whatever next challenges were, you thinking maybe do we get to see Ali again in this rematch? Okay. Or what's next for Frazier? But until something happens, clearly Frazier is the guy, because to defeat Ali, who's overcome so many different things with changing his name to his religion, to the whole nine, and draft dodging, as they say, or whatever it may be. And then you have a guy that's just a basic, old school, around the way, dirty gym type Philadelphia side street guy, wins the title, then you got to give him his love. You got to give him his love. And I think he never received the due he deserved. I think after this fight, Ali received more love in Life magazine than Joe Frazier ever would have.
Right.
And should have. It was still all about Ali, unfortunately, for Joe Frazier.
Well, okay, and we're looking, John, are we looking at, if John's still with us, I don't think he is, the idea of, will we see Ali again? What would be the point if you're Ali, unless you're going to get a rematch? What would be the point of coming back? And I don't think John's with us, so Charles, what do you think? During looking at it at this point in time, I came back, I did what I had to do, and I didn't get it done. Oh, well.
Yeah, that's true, but I think part of it is when they probably went back and looked at the fight and realized how much time he had off. The preparation was different, and they say that if you ever been a boxer or you get into the ring, the practice or the sparring sessions can never get you ready for the fight.
Right.
You have to be in there, and then to be off for that long, and then when you finally face quality talent, I think they said we need to take a break, need to assess this, get you in the best shape, ready, and realize working on some other things, and realize now, too, instead of just maybe walking away, you're a different fighter, right?
Right.
You're not the guy you were with. I told you I was the greatest. You're not that guy anymore. Your body's changed, life has changed. So therefore, we need to take a different approach. But I think the time aspect of it is taking some time, looking at what he's doing and preparing as a different fighter was a few of the things that definitely had to cross Ali's mind and his Kemp's mind.
Well, it's one of those things where you're looking at where he's going to go and what he's going to do, but also how does he feel? I mean, he's lost. What's he going to do? How does he feel about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure that he knew he couldn't do it all forever.
Right.
But then again, overcoming some of the obstacles he did, because I think his biggest obstacle was the fact that he couldn't get in the ring. They took his title. They suspended him.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, they took his ability to fight and make money. I think that was his biggest obstacle. And then the factor that he was able to finally get that back and get into the ring, he probably felt to himself, there's nothing I can't accomplish. We're worried about that. We'll get back to it. But right now, the big obstacle was being reinstated.
Right.
So if I can fight, I'll find a way to get it done. I'm sure that's what they try to do later on down the line, is you try to continue to get ready so he can persevere and get ready for his next bout.
Well, I think we did. Whoever's idea this was, and I don't remember. I mean, in general, this was John's idea to do this fight and to do the series of fights this month. But whoever's idea it was to do this, oh my goodness, somebody's a genius. So pat yourself on the back if it was you. I know it wasn't me. But this is the first in a trilogy this month that we're going to do. Tell your friends, let everybody know. Next week is going to be Foreman and Frazier. And then following that, it's going to be Ali Foreman. So we've got 2 more weeks of this. We'll get the technical glitches worked out. And thanks again, folks. We'll see you next week. Nothing more needs to be said.